Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Assembly on Courage. I'm very, very grateful to be joined this morning by sixth formers who are going to help me read through this. So courage is all around us and always has been. We're not short of examples of it at the moment, and we're still inspired and helped by people's courage in the past. Courage is obviously a desirable quality, and I wish I had more of it. I like this photo that Mum posted on Facebook because it makes me look a lot more courageous than I am. And there are loads of situations in which I wish that I had more courage. And courage is certainly a desirable quality, as we said. The dictionary says, courage is the quality shown by someone who decides to do something difficult or dangerous, even though they may be afraid. I don't entirely agree with that definition, because that could include doing something really stupid and pointless just for the sake of it. So there has to be a higher goal. There needs to be something more. We might ask ourselves, what might that be? St. Paul gives us a clue in his letter to the Corinthians. Here's what he says. And now I'm going to show you a way that is even more outstanding. If I speak in the languages of human beings and of angels, but do not have love, then I've turned into a sounding brass or a clashing cymbal. And if I have the gift of prophecy, and I know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have complete faith so as to move mountains but have no love, I'm nothing. And if I divide all my possessions into bits, and if I hand over my body in order that I may boast, but do not have love, then I am not helped in any way.
Just to recap, without love, talking eloquently equals a big nasty noise. Able to see the future, and it means absolutely nothing unless you understand the present and achieve the miracles. Give away everything I own, even myself, brings no gain at all. However, the minute you add love to the mix, all of our actions are transformed, possibly even the most boring, depressing tasks. That's always worth thinking about. So you can go ahead and talk eloquently and move as many mountains as you like. If you're doing it because of love for others, then carry on.
And back to Paul, he continues, love copes with everything, is always committed, always hopeful, always endures to the end. Love never collapses. Some classes have mentioned how idealistic and sentimental this text was, but it's really quite astonishing when you realise that St. Paul didn't start off as a loving example of everything good. He was a man, a real one, not a fictional one, who went looking for Christians in order to have them killed, and probably threw some of the stones that killed them. He doesn't sound like assembly material at all when we first meet him. Saul, as he was known then, was still breathing murderous threats against Lord's disciples. So how did he move from breathing murderous threats to this love-inspired letter writer? And what has this got to do with the theme of courage? Let's have a look.
Paul, aka Saul, was on his way to find more Christians to kill when he gets struck down. Now as he journeyed, he happened to be drawing near to Damascus. Suddenly, a bright light appeared from heaven and shone about him. Falling onto the ground, he heard the voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? He said. Who are you, Lord? The voice said. I'm Jesus, whom you are persecuting. And in fear and trembling, Saul said, Lord, what do you want me to do? At this moment, Paul's eyes are shut, and yet he recognizes the voice and this presence as the real thing. Whoever owns this voice knows Saul by name and knows what he's up to, and Saul seems to know that this voice has a mission in mind for him, and even though he is shaking with fear, he wants to know what the mission is and what he has to do. And that is courage, being afraid but realizing you have what you have to do and doing it, and taking a good and honest look at yourself in the process. Now, we don't know what happened to in Saul's brain or heart in that moment, but when I think about this scene, I like to think about in that moment, God gave him one thing that was missing in his life to make everything possible: love. But I admit this artist makes this look like a very tough love indeed.
And that's why years later, when Paul is writing to the flaky people of Corinth, he can share with them so confidently what they've been missing. Love is the solution to the problems of the people of Corinth, and I'm sure Paul would want us to know that love is the solution to the problems of the people of Middlesbrough too. And how, I wonder, might we show that courage today? By reaching out to the lonely, by doing something kind. When I wrote Damascus, that made me think of Syria and reminded me of someone.
Muhyiddin al-Khalil, otherwise known as Falafel Fella, who was from Syria. He was just 18 and had spent much of his life in the shadow of war and was forced to move from house to house as bombing raids destroyed his city. Muhyiddin can remember vividly an existence where there was no escape from the bombs, the death, and the destruction. As a teenager, he lost friends and loved ones and was forced to abandon his studies when snipers lined the streets that led to his law exams, shooting at everything they saw: dogs, cats, and people. The evening before he fled, the student was facing the threat of forced enlistment into the army where, in his words, "I would be killed or have to kill others." He begged to stay in Syria so that he could help his family, but his loved ones insisted he leave. Hours later, he found himself in a foreign country where he went on to learn too much about life, and finally his search for a new home brought him to Darlington. When we hear of people discussing refugees and asylum seekers in terms of numbers, it's worth remembering that each one has a story, usually one that would terrify us if we had to live through it ourselves. Now, I'm sure that if you were allowed to talk during assembly, you'd be shouting out, "So what was Saul's mission? What did God want him to do?"
Well, he went to Damascus as planned, and from there his mission was simple but not easy. He had to travel as far as he could and talk to as many people as possible of all backgrounds and tell them that Jesus, who had been put to death, had come back to life. And that's how he spent the rest of his life, speaking out, doing good, healing people. He gets imprisoned several times and beaten up many times, and he just keeps going. He writes loads of letters to people to encourage them to keep doing good, no matter what the setbacks are, and just keeps travelling until eventually he is taken to Rome, the ends of the earth, where he is kept in prison until his story ends with his martyrdom, his execution. In many ways it sounds like an awful lie. Who would be a Christian? But if you look at the letters he wrote, it's clear that it was a life full of joy, full of hope. He lived a life of absolute freedom, in spite of his many stays in prison, in the firm belief that he was doing something necessary and living the life that he was born to live.
To sum up, lacking courage restrict our horizons. We are afraid of the unknown and stay within our set routine in order to feel safe. It might even stop us from learning, as the fear of tripping up makes us refuse to try. Lacking courage can make us stay quiet when we should speak out. Lacking courage can turn us in on ourselves, too afraid to open our eyes and look at each other people, their needs and all of their possibilities the world has to offer. However, courage and love can bring about knowledge of ourselves, and it can bring about change. Loving Father, once we accept that we are truly loved, we don't need to fear anything. Failure, disappointment, and shame lose the power over us, and we are free to live wisely, to think deeply, and to love generously. Help us claim that freedom as our own with courage. Amen.
We'll leave you with some points to think about in your tutor groups. Don't feel as though you need to discuss them. Thinking quietly will be just as beneficial. Thanks for listening.